Jacob, can you kind of detail what's currently going on with JT?
Yeah, happy to. So what's going on right now is that, well, let me take it back for a second. When I came onto this case, we sort of blew it up and exposed to the DA that this has nothing to do with extortion. Whatever the allegations were, it has nothing to do with extortion. The DA, to his credit, agreed, saw that, and dropped all the extortion cases against JT. However, that wasn't it for the DA. They have an attitude of they won't stop at anything for this case. They have it out for JT and they will stop at nothing to get him. And that's what's very problematic about this case, because and that's unique to Los Angeles especially, because what we have going on right now is a celebrity case of celebrity justice, where you get one of the biggest stars in the world who is getting his own set of law enforcement and prosecutor and justice system against someone who he feels did wrong by him. And that's not okay. We can't stand for that anywhere in our system. So you hear a lot about what's going on in the news now with criminal justice reform and police officers and law enforcement and prosecutors manipulating evidence, changing evidence, falsifying evidence. That's exactly what has gone on in this case. It started from the beginning. The original search warrants against JT were fraught, against not just JT, other companies as well, were fraught with errors, misstatements, untruths. I don't want to use the L word, but something real close to that. No.
Okay.
Something real close to that. Something real close to lies, okay? Omissions, material omissions, riddled with it. Nothing was true. I mean, from the simplest thing, it said in the warrants that Kevin Hart received a text message at his home in Los Angeles County. Not only, they knew full well, he never received a text message, A, and B, he was not even at his home in Los Angeles County. A simple Google search showed that he was on tour in North Carolina at the supposed time he received a text message, which he didn't. No effort was ever made to correct that misstatement. Okay, so the reports are filled with these kind of inaccuracies. Now, when you fast forward, once the DA realized that, and realized that they got it wrong, okay? And that's okay, you can get things wrong. And they realized that they got it wrong. What they should have done is drop the case, walked away. You know, what Kevin Hart did in Las Vegas, that was a bad move on his part. That was a mistake on his part. But what happened is that Kevin got together a team of very powerful and well-known attorneys, together with his whatever agents, managers, what have you. And they basically concocted a story to make Kevin look like the victim in the case. Then they got together, they presented this case to the DA. The DA and the investigator in the case, wow, they got a taste of celebrity here. One of the biggest stars in the world, Kevin Hart. And they went and ran with it. And they continue to persist on charges against Mr. Jackson when the evidence just doesn't bear out. They have gone so far as to literally make up a charge against him. And when you talk about what's going on in the world right now, when you have rapists and murderers and drug dealers and street robberies going on, here you have this man who served our country, who has absolutely no criminal record, and you have law enforcement and the criminal justice system doing everything they can to pin charges on this man. And that's not okay. And we need to stand against it. And we need to stand up for it. And you know what? Kevin Hart, I wish him well. He made a mistake that weekend, but for him to go and make himself the victim of a crime that never happened, that's not okay. And I think when it boils down to it, we're going to have 12 people sitting in a jury box who are going to agree with that that this man did nothing wrong.
Yeah. Is this, so just to clarify, the current charge is identity theft? That's the last one?
Yeah. The DA has really twisted the specific words and language of the identity theft charge, the statute here in California, to really narrowly fit allegations in this case. And there is no case with similar facts and circumstances that sets a precedent for this, nothing that they can point to. And he's also charged it as a felony, a felony offense where this man could face state prison time if convicted. But fortunately, we know that, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Why do you, and just real quickly, why do you both can answer, think that these charges being dropped kind of happened so quietly?
I think it was a little bit of pie in the face, a little bit on the DA's part. But like I said, I give the DA credit for realizing that he had a legal problem with the case. However, and I will tell you this, I don't know if JT can tell you or even knows this, but like I just said, you have a case of celebrity justice where you have a very powerful celebrity with a team of high profile and high powered attorneys and agents and managers putting pressure on the district attorney's office to pursue charges. Because the stronger they go against JT, the more of a victim Kevin Hart becomes. And by that time, Kevin had shifted the narrative. This started out as a man who cheated on his pregnant wife on her birthday weekend in Vegas. That's how the story was run for a long time. And Kevin's team was successful in shifting that narrative to Kevin being the victim of something that happened in Las Vegas. And they weren't about to risk going back to Kevin going back to being that guy who cheated on his wife.
Absolutely. 100%.
Right.
JT has been stone cold since the moment I met him. Stone cold, I did nothing wrong. Yeah. Let's get this case dropped. And that's when they dropped those charges, that was his attitude. Okay, we hit that, we got that. We got that out of the way, let's move on to the next thing. Where are we at now?
Right. And now we're here with the, and don't keep in mind that Kevin and his team never brought up, you know how it went down in the beginning. 2 charges, both extortion.
The biggest one.
The biggest one, but those were the only ones, in the beginning. Okay. A year and a half, 2 years later, we're gonna give you this charge, identity theft. Like, come on, man. Like, so like, I don't know how the justice and the DAs work and in regards to adding new charges. Kevin never brought up anything about any identity theft. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, so where is this coming from? Whose identity am I stealing, or whatever the hell they want to say?
The first time we heard the word identity theft, identity theft, was, if I recall correctly, August of 2019. That was nearly 2 years after the alleged incident, and a year and a half after charges were filed against Mr. Jackson. It was simply made up. They had to go with something. Yeah. They had to make something up. Yeah. They have to find something.
Avoid that lawsuit.
And that's not right.
So, just to kind of wrap this in a bow, you feel that your client clearly was a victim himself in this, and that the DA dug them maybe this hole so deep that they just have to now push forward, or?
That's sort of how I feel. Listen, I think we as a society have to expect more from our criminal justice system, and we live in a day and age where we're looking from the outside in at the criminal justice system, wanting reform, wanting change. And this highlights it. He deserves that. He deserves to be the product of change here. You have a case that did not bear out the way they thought it would. Mm-hmm. Be a man about it. Dismiss the case. Let this man go home to his loving wife.
They miscalculated him. Yeah, they miscalculated him. But I think they thought they can get over on him.
I appreciate that, but let me tell you something. If it was not Kevin Hart who was at the other end of this, if it was Joe Schmo versus Joe Schmo, they'd say, case dismissed, good luck to you in life. But that's not happening here.